Greetings, CM1. I hope everybody is good and that you are well. Welcome back to Lesson 7. We are still on Unit 2, and our theme for Unit 2 is still, what do you do? Can you repeat after me? What do you do? What do you do? Good job. Now, as we discussed or talked about in the lesson before, when someone asks the question, what do you do? It means the same as asking, what is your job? It means the same thing. Okay, so you will go to your screen or you will go to LMS and follow the link. Open the introduction link, please. Watch the introduction link, and after you watch the introduction link, I am going to ask you some questions. So please have a pencil and paper to listen to my video after you watch the link and write down the answers. Okay, all right, what do you do? Okay, so in the video, they give us 4 ways you can ask the question, what do you do? 4 different ways you can ask, what do you do? Please write down number 1, 2, 3, and 4, and write down the 4 ways you can ask the same question, what do you do, in a different way. So the answer is in the video. Okay. So we have 1 question, 2 question, 3 question, and 4 question asking what do you do, but in a different way. Okay, all right. All right, now we are going to go to the listening part. Go to the listening part from the video and listen. Okay, listen to that. Okay, so I'm going to ask you 5 more questions. I asked you 4 before, you answer 4. 4 different ways of saying what do you do. And now I am going to ask you more questions about the video. So if you listen to the video. Okay, so they interview people who are doing jobs and they ask them questions, and the people give the answer about their jobs or occupations. Write down what answers they give. Okay, so number 1 question is, what do you do? Please write down number 1 and answer what the person in the video said. Okay, what is their answer? What do you do? That is number 1 question. Okay, good. Number 2, what kind? What kind? Okay, so answer what they said. Listen to the video and answer. Okay, 3, what do you do for a living? What do you do for a living? Again, listen to the answer in the video and write down the answer. So it's easy if you listen and write same answer the person is saying. Okay. Question 4. How long have you been doing that? How long have you been doing that? Okay, so answer from the video, what the person said. And question 5, what line of work are you in? What line of work are you in? So answer the questions. Okay, you will stop the video at 2 minutes 49 seconds. 2:49, stop the video. Okay, we're stopping the questions for today. Okay, so if you answer 1 to 4 and then 1 to 5, so it's 9 answers you have to give. Okay, good job. Now please, let's go to our books and turn to page 11 on our student book. Everybody, I hope you have your books now. Okay, so this week is the last week. I'm going to scan pages. After that, I will just give you the page number. You have to find it for yourself in your own book. Here's the student book. Let's turn to page 11 together. Okay, page 11. Okay, and on page 11, we have the conversation. We have the conversation. You have to complete the conversation. You have to complete the conversation. And we have in our box, the vocabulary box. Okay, I'm going to just read the words. Please repeat after me. English teacher. English teacher. Good. And B says singer. Singer. Good. And C says Chicago. Chicago. Okay. So it's a conversation between two people. Conversation between two people. Brian and Stacy. Brian and Stacy are having a conversation. Okay. So I'm going to read out the parts of Brian and Stacy, but I'm going to leave out the answers. Okay. You have to fill in the answers first. Just look at the vocabulary words, fill it in. And then second, go to the online book and play the audio. Listen to the answer and check if your answer is right. If it's wrong, change it to the correct answer. Okay, so I'm going to read the conversation, but I will leave blank the answer. Okay? So, Brian. So, where do you live? So, where do you live? Stacy. Well, I'm from New York, but I live in... Well, I'm from New York, but I live in... Brian. Interesting. And what do you do? Interesting. And what do you do? I'm Ann. What about you? I'm Ann. What about you? Brian. I'm a doctor. I work in a hospital in Seattle. I'm a doctor. I work in a hospital in Seattle. Stacy. Really? My sister lives in Seattle. Really? My sister lives in Seattle. Brian. What does she do? What does she do? Stacy. She's a Brian. What's her name? What's her name? Stacy. Susie Davis. Susie Davis. Brian. Susie, I know her. Susie, I know her. Stacy. Really? Small world. Really? Small world. Okay, good job. Right, so after that, you go to number 2. Practice the conversation again. So here we have conversation. Number 1, you write the answer. And then number 2, you have to practice the conversation again, but use the words below. Use the words below, and when you see the space for the answer, write your own answers, okay, at the bottom. Okay, so let's change the conversation. I will just give you an example. So you will practice at home, same conversation, you speaking by yourself, but change and put in these different words when you are speaking. Okay, Brian. So, where do you live? Well, I'm from Seoul, but I live in Gwasan. Interesting. What do you do? I'm an IT specialist. What about you? I'm a professor. I work at Jungwon University. Really? My friend works in Jungwon. What does she do? She is a drama teacher. What's her name? Sumin. Sumin. I know her. Really? Small world. So you can change. You can use Tokyo, actor, police officer, writer, architect, Mexico City, Tokyo. Okay, I will change it one more time. So just keep on changing the conversation, maybe 2 or 3 times, or even 4 times, so you can practice the different ideas. Okay. Brian, so where do you live? Stacy, I live in Mexico City. Interesting. What do you do? I work at a grocery store. What about you? I work at a post office. Really? My neighbor works in a post office and lives in Tokyo. Okay, my neighbor lives in Tokyo. What does she do? She's a nurse. What's her name? Then you give her name. I know her. Really small world. Okay, good job. Okay, so when you are finished doing that, number 1 and number 2, we will go to our workbook as usual. Go to our workbook and turn to page 7. So we have this, our workbook, and we will turn to page 7. Okay, so we have language practice, number 1 and number 2. You must only do number 1 and number 2. Right. Choose the correct form of the verb. So you choose the right answer for number 1, okay? And then number 2, complete the sentences and use the verbs in parentheses. So verbs in parentheses are live, be, work, be, go. So change it and put that. So you will do number 1 and number 2, and that is the end of lesson 7. Good job. See you in lesson 8. Okay, please check LMS, your messages and your assignment board. I'm going to send you the link to the lecture and the introduction link, and as well as your classwork and your homework. Have a nice day. See you on lesson 8. Goodbye.